We are on our way to this church that's around the corner. I just wanted to say that I feel like my prayer was answered, even though I didn't know if I was praying or not, but I knew what I wanted. And sometimes that's all it takes. Just knowing what you want, eventually it'll come to you intentionally. God knows what you want. Spirit knows what you want. So then when you put it out into the universe, no matter what way that is, eventually it comes to you. And I won't just say, it's easy putting out anything or something into the universe, because it's not. You have to want it. So therefore, when you want something, you go out of your way and you go to, when you want something, you go the hardest for it. No matter what happens in the end, you do what you have to do. And when you know what you want, when opportunities approach you, you know that opportunity is for you. Whatever is for you is for you. So yeah. With that being said, I don't know what time this church opened, and it's my first time going, but that's what I wanted to say, is that I did put it out there that I was a believer, and church is like my home. I won't say my second home. Church is like my first home. And the fact that all of this happened to me, it just, it opened me up to going to church that's unfamiliar. And, that was given to me. I feel like I was given the opportunity to go to this church that was unfamiliar to me, so that I can gain the courage to step into any church and step into any place that I feel I want to be without any fear foreshadowing me. So yeah, earlier in my videos I had mentioned a lot that I wanted to go to a church, and that I wanted to eventually find a church around here that I can attend. I made it clear in my videos. I didn't know that's what I was doing, but obviously that's what I was doing. And it came to me. So I just want to speak on how grateful I am for my experience. And what's not for me is not for me. What eventually will happen will happen. If it's not for me, it won't happen. And you just have to be grateful for every moment that you receive in life, because life is mysterious and it has its mysterious ways. Even when you don't know where you're going, Spirit knows where you're going. So I haven't had my breakfast today, because the word is usually my breakfast. But being the fact that we had to wait to go to church because we arrived too early. Well, not really too early, now that I know what goes on inside closed doors, if you feel me. But yeah, We did arrive too early for service, though. So we went ahead and we went to go get some food, some groceries. I already had groceries at home and I had food to eat, but I had some other things that I need to get off my chest because I needed some snacks. And fixing breakfast for me right now in this mental state of mind is impossible. So when it's impossible, I have to have you know, I need when it's impossible, I need to have something ready, easy, ready to cook, and this and that. Especially with my son, so I have to always go out there and get something with something that's convenient. Even though I can cook and I can throw down and I can, do my thing, but I'm in a different state of mind right now, and I have to eventually, I will reach, that star once upon a time in my sky of who I am. Eventually, I will reach that star again. And if not, then maybe that star is just meant to sit up there while I sit back and watch and live life and take it for what it is. So, yeah, it's time to take advantage of these food stamps for once in my life. But I do have a poem that I am going to share next. So, stay tuned. But before I speak on that poem, I want to talk about our inner monster. I don't know if this came to. I don't know if this came to me. I don't know where my resources is now nowadays, or because I think, I brainstorm, I talk, I have conversations. I don't know where this is coming to me, but maybe this morning. I don't know, but it's just the chains, being chain bound. Who are you? And I think it was in church. So who are you when you're being faced with that monster? A lot of people, they want to chain you down. They want to chain this inner monster. And when I thought about this, I thought about what's that movie called? I think Will Smith played in it or something. Kunta Kinte or Kunta or something like that. When he was chained down, well, she was chained down, the girl, the woman. And she always comes to my mind because I feel like it's so much more than what they spoke about her. The fact that she was smart, intelligent, and she knew how to get around in life and to get what she wanted and to, okay, so maybe it wasn't Kunta Kinte. But I know Will Smith plays a lot of movie that kind of gives off Kunta Kinte vibes. But it was this one movie. I cannot think of what the movie is right now. But he had a wife that he had to, like, they was both slaves. And I don't know if it was Will Smith. I don't know I just know Will Smith plays that role. So it might have been one of his movies. But he had to go back he had to go back for his slave. Actually, no, it wasn't Will Smith. It was the freak is his name. It's, it wasn't Will Smith. Dang, I forget his name, but I know who I'm talking about. It's one of my. He's also one of my favorite. One of my favorite actors. But yeah. Oh, actually, was it freaking Will Smith or not? Because the other actor I'm talking about, it's given the same person. The guy that played off Family Matters. Was it Family Matters? No, it was freaking Jamie Foxx. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so it was Jamie Foxx. Okay, so Jamie Foxx, he played in this movie where he had to go back and get his woman. His woman, like I said, was very smart. She was a smart black woman. She knew what she had to do, and they only kept her in a hole because she was smart. They didn't want a woman like that out and about, giving these other women ideas, and eventually this woman could become a weapon, a woman weaponizer, a woman, what is it, womanizer? A womanizer, what is a womanizer? A womanizer can be like a woman inspiration for other women to make these women and come up on top of whatever is holding them down. So I just kind of want to speak on that because it's just like every time I think about a monster in a cage, I think about that movie because they kept her in a hole and she was suffering for so long. And he had to be the one to come help her because if it wasn't for him, she would keep being put in that hole over and over and over again because she was a different type of woman. And he knew this, and that's why he knew that, eventually he would come back and save her and get his woman back, basically. So, and it was that girl, like the girl I'm talking about, she played on one of my favorite shows. And yeah, so anyways, I'm not even about to think about that show because I'm getting off topic again. But yeah, so oftentimes we feel like our monster is caged, so anytime we feel like, and this monster is not a monster, this monster is just that part of us that we didn't endure. Our monster is that consuming fire that I spoke about earlier on in one of my most recent videos. That's what that monster is. It's that consuming fire, that never had the chance to express, that never had a chance to burn, and it's finally getting that chance. So it's like we are being punished for this expression. We are being held down and tormented and caged because of how we feel, how this world made us feel. We are being caged from expressing our opinion and expressing our truth. And why is this? When you think about it, like just think about it. Why is it if y'all already know our truth? If y'all already know our truth and we are basically rediscovering our truth, why has our truth become such a threat to where we have to be chained down and chain bound? Why is my question. So yeah. That being said, stay tuned and here goes my poem that I wrote. Earlier I came up with. Enjoy. Maybe if you would have repented, things wouldn't be going how it is. Maybe if you would have repented, you wouldn't be having such a hard time with them kids. Maybe if you would have repented, you would feel more courageous. Maybe if you would have repented, this sickness wouldn't be so contagious. Maybe if you would have repented, you wouldn't be so depressed, distressed, or such a crybaby about what you haven't received. Maybe if you would have repented, you wouldn't be looked at as crazy. Maybe if you would have repented, you wouldn't be here now. Maybe if you would have repented, it's more you would have found out about yourself. Maybe if you would have repented, you wouldn't be worried about nobody else. Maybe if you would have repented, you could rely more on yourself. Maybe if you would have repented, these things wouldn't matter to you. Maybe if you would have repented, you could do everything that you said or you sought out to do. Maybe if you would have repented, that life or that dream over there could be yours. Maybe if you would have repented, the doors will be open for you and you wouldn't have to worry or be so concerned about what is or what isn't yours because you have attained more than you could ask for. Maybe if you would have repented, life would be glorious. Maybe if you would have repented, 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 maybe if you would have repented. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Be notified and share at your own free will to show you care. So this is my notes from church today. I'm going to do a review just on, the different churches that I attend because obviously I haven't found that church. I thought I found that church, but sometimes when you find that church, it's a little bit too far in your situation or your position, the position that you are in, you can't, get there consistently. So I found me a different church today. And this is my church review called Exploring to Find. So today we went over Acts 6:1. Basically the whole sermon was around this chapter, Acts 6:1. And in those days when the number of disciples was multiplied, there arose a mourning of the Grecians against the Hebrews because their widows were neglected in daily ministration. And basically the beginning led to the end, because in the end it basically led to my question. And my question was, well, we'll get to that. So you're kind of, if you follow along, you'll kind of get what I'm talking about. That the beginning of the sermon eventually ended. Basically, the beginning of the sermon eventually basically both ends met. When I'm like that saying, how that saying goes, when you're trying to make ends meet, basically those ends met. So the beginning ended the same way as it started. There you go. Okay, so because their widows were neglected in daily ministration. They sung hymns, "Pass Me Not." There was another hymn that I couldn't grasp. So I'm like, I wanted to follow along. Like I wanted to, sing how they were singing and express myself the way they were expressing. Like I wanted to sing because I heard them singing. But then I couldn't find it. So I asked them, I'm like, where can I find the songs you're singing in this book? And then he gonna say, oh, I don't know. I'm not very helpful, am I? I'm like, what the heck? Where did that just come from? Like, what's wrong with you? So I'm just like, that killed my whole mood. Like, I was so upset after that. Like, I just don't understand where that came from. And like, that really, when I say that hurt my feelings, that really hurt my feelings, because I really was serious. And when he said that, I'm like, you are a part of the ministry and you can't even direct me to the song of the hymn. Like, what are, like, this is the question where I just kind of feel like, why? What is you hiding? Like, why can't you just direct me to the hymn that you're singing? Like, why are you trying to be so secretive? And that's where I feel like they need to get better, because they're in the they got a choir and stuff, but it's like you can sing along if you want to. So it's just like, y'all need to display the hymns that y'all singing. It just can't be for yourselves. What if other people want to join in? Like, this is where I feel like it's selfish. And like I said, that pissed me off. And right there, I was about ready to walk out. I was so ready to walk out. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna hold it together. I'm gonna hold it together, and I'm gonna get through this whole church service, because, like I said, I'm on a mission to finding the church, and my mission gonna be complete regardless of if you feeling a certain way or not. Because guess what? That you aren't the pastor, you aren't the bishop. You're just another person. So I'm not gonna let you define how I feel towards this church with just you. So that's how I feel about it. When you really passionate towards something, can't nobody stand in your way. you know so yeah, that's how I felt. Like, he really hurt my feelings. So then, that's when they started singing this one song, and this song I could grasp, onto. It was easy to where you can follow along if you can't find it in the book of hymns, or they're not guiding you the way they should be. Then there was the choir started singing a song that you can just follow along with. So we started singing that song, and I could follow along with it, and just following along, I got that expression, how I felt towards the situation. I could definitely express myself through that song, and she gave me that opportunity. So I'm very grateful for their choir. So the old man in front of me was he was kind enough to guide me to the last song before I asked the guy for the next song, where I could find the other song. Because he kept approaching me, so I'm just like, where's this song at? Like, can you show me this song? I don't want to keep interrupting other people when you obviously you keep approaching me. So where can I find this song at? So then I didn't say it like that though. I asked him kindly, because I wasn't mad at that point. So the old man in front of me, I took note that he was kind. He guided me to the last song. He was no longer sitting in front of me, but he was there. He was, and he guided me to the song. And so he was kind enough to guide me to the song. At first, I was kind of skeptical, because, like, I'm used to people's behaviors to where, I expected the guy that treated me the way he treated me, guy who said, I'm not so helpful, am I? I was expecting him to act the way he did. So, the fact that he didn't, it kind of surprised me. He guided me to the right song. So I'm like, I was just taking note that I was grateful. I'm writing down the good moments with the bad. So, it's the good and the bad, and then you let that be your decision. So I said, I don't know if I will return to this church, because, and I was like, this book I like with so many songs I expressed, and I took pictures right here. So this book I like with all of these different songs, like in any mood that you feel, you got a song to turn to. So I was just saying that because I really wanted to sing this song. Like, I really wanted to express myself, and they would not let me. He just made me upset. So I was like, too bad. I can't express how I'm feeling the way I'm feeling as they can or are, since I have no guidance to the songs. Don't know if I'll return to this church. I'll try again next Sunday. Basically towards another church, to find another church. Hopefully they can improve their ways of service with guidance and kindness. Charity is key. So then it was Acts. When this song occurred and the multitude came together and were confused because everyone heard them speak in his own language. So these are the verses that he was like throwing out different verses. And, I just, took note of any verse that kind of just clinged to me or leashed onto me in that moment. And these are the verses that came to me. So this kind of I feel like this expressed the way I was feeling about the song or the music. The song about what I wanted to sing, but I couldn't sing. So this is how I felt in the moment that I couldn't sing, and I don't know how this resonates, but it just resonated with me, and I just threw that out. I just noted that song. Basically, I guess since it says sound, and when this sound occurred, the multitude came together and were confused because everyone heard them speak in his own language. Not a filthy lucre. So this part I did not understand. He didn't really explain it to either. He didn't explain what this was, so I took note of it and I was like, you know what? Later on, I'll kind of try to wrap my brain around it. So this is Peter 1. Stop. Peter 1, chapter 5, verse 2. You can find this verse in not a filthy lucre, lustre or something. I feel like he tried to explain it because he said, not a filthiness, of your spirit's filthiness. But it's like, I got to see for myself, because if I couldn't grasp it in that moment, then it was meant for me to study more about it, but of a ready mind. So it was like, not a filthy lucre, but of a ready mind. Parable of the sower, feed my sheep. So basically, that's what that was about. It's about feeding my sheep. So yeah, the rest I am just going to read as if my dear diary. Hold on, cause he doing too much right now. Okay, so I am on 5%. I'm trying to hurry up, but the fact that he kept slowing me down with his loud tablet, it's not his fault. It's just, when I get aggravated and I'm trying to get to my point and there's always a distraction, and, I'm trying. But anyways, let's get back to it. So, what happens is, so this is basically like, now, the sermon is going on long and long. I'm listening, but at the same time, I'm getting, I'm trying to become emotionally stable towards the situation. So I'm basically just venting at this point. What happens is what's unexpected, but this is going off of the chapter that he was talking about. Feed my sheep. Okay, so it says what happened is what is unexpected. What happened is finger pointing at you. Okay, so what happened is what was unexpected. What happened is the finger pointing at you, pointing at them. This was unexpected. And this is how God humbles you, one day at a time. Hopefully you learn from your mistakes and choose growth over comfort and ego. And I was laughing at this because, okay, so this is Acts 20:29, verse 30, in the closing of the sermon, or so I thought. But it's like, okay, so if you read this, just go to Acts 20:29, verse 29 and 30. Read it, and I'm pretty sure you'll understand my humility. My did I say it right? Humility towards the situation. Well, my sense of humor towards the situation. So I think I'm gonna go home and listen to that song. So I basically put two and two, like how I was feeling. Well, basically, what I got out of this verse is like, it led me back to the song by Life Jennings. I'm thinking it's Life Jennings. I'm pretty sure it's Life Jennings, but it could be R. Kelly because their song just kind of their songs is similar to me and familiar. So I was like, I think I'm gonna go home and listen to that song with the verse that says, "Don't shoot the messenger." because basically that's what I got out of that word, Acts 20, 29, 30, and the closing of the sermon. When God humbles you, it's one day at a time. Hopefully you learn from your mistakes and choose growth over comfort or ego. So choose to grow and learn from your lessons rather than, shooting a messenger because you feel a certain way about the messenger. This is basically going to what I'm going to be talking about later on about the bird theory. So it's basically like the messenger is there, is sent to God for that moment to deliver and to serve God, you, and who you are. So, that's what came to me when I was thinking about, don't shoot the messenger. The messenger is there. And it's just like, that just came back around. Like, when I just say that just came back around right now, that just came back around. It's like, what? I feel like that just came right back around. Like, this is so crazy. So, yeah, don't shoot nobody in the foot because at the end of the day, God is the judge, Let God be the judge, because the more you fight, the more you see that you attacking yourself. You could be like, oh yeah, this, that, and the third, or you can be like, these person. Okay, so the verse was basically like, these people is going to be coming into our church and attacking us, but then the second part of the verse basically turned around and slapped him in the face and was like, that was anyway. So the verse basically came back around on him and was like, even these can be your people sitting under the same roof. And I feel like he didn't want to say that. He didn't want to speak up he didn't want to speak up on that matter. Like, because it kind of seemed like he was contradicting himself when he said one verse and then he connected it with the next verse. And I'm like, you know what? That's what happens when you're being too egotistic about something. You don't know what's going to happen next. So when it happened next and it's unexpected, then what's gonna happen? I mean, now how you feeling? Like, it was interesting. It was interesting. So that's what I got out of that. Then he spoke. The church needs more masculine voices. I asked, well, what about the women? All churches are different, and I knew the outbursts would be different because in my experience, you can't shout out with question. You yell out in agreement. I'm so close, but my voice sounds so far. Say that again, asked the pastor. Dang, I could have sworn I was loud at that point. I was passionate when I asked that question. I just thought about, like what's those things called? A gnome. That's what I look like right now. But anyways, that's besides the point. What I was just thinking about was, how. So basically, I'm going off of what I just said. I was like, I must have got quiet. Or my voice must have got quieter when I asked that to the pastor, because a pastor is supposed to circumcise. His job is to circumcise his church. So anything that those that come to listen and get the word, we're supposed to be like children, students, there to listen. So as the teacher teaches. And there was this, I think it was a song. I forget what the song was. Maybe it was a song, or maybe I just heard this from somebody. They was like, how can you listen? How can you be a student if the teacher is absent? How, and that hit home right now. How can you be the teacher? I mean, how can you be a student if the teacher is absent? So when I have a question like that, it's just like, you can't shoot me for it. You can't knock me for it because you're supposed to answer. That part, I feel like was unnecessary to say. But, yeah. That's what a pastor is. A job is supposed. That's what as a pastor, that's what you do. He also brought up the fact that the bishop is above the pastor, or I think that's what it is. So it's all about circumcision. When you're in the kingdom of God and you're serving for Christ, everybody have their roles. So then the bishop was circumcised the pastor. The pastor would circumcise everybody else. It all depends on the roles of the church, because I don't know the roles of the church. So if I knew the roles of the church, then I can kind of tell you exactly who circumcises who. But the pastor would circumcise, I guess, someone that's in the church that's close to I guess will circumcise, just like they said that there was Sunday school. Eventually I'll be going to. So the Sunday school teacher will get circumcised or something like that. I'm just kind of trying to figure out what I'm talking about right now. But yeah. I mean, I walked out of church and this guy, that's why I don't like wearing weave. That's why I don't like wearing weave, because as soon as I walked out of church, he looked at me, he was like, "You cut your hair?" Like, no, I didn't cut my hair. But I know that this guy sees me all the time. He sees me all the time with different hairstyles. He sees me without my haircut, and he sees me with my haircut. I don't know if this window is open. You see that window right there? It's that window right here. I don't know if it's open or that glass is broke. Because, what? Who just has their window open like that? But yeah. Okay, so I was in my imagination right now, and I was thinking about how the birds, I was thinking about the birds because, okay, so if you look at the world as the kingdom of God, then you can kind of see it in that perspective. So, like, a bird is going to chirp. A cow is going to move. A chicken is going to... I forgot what time the chicken is. Bop, bop, or quack. A duck is going to quack. A pig is going to oink. Just think of yourself as God, and then you got Adam was supposed to be the tending. He was supposed to be the attendant of the garden. He was supposed to tend to the garden, but he kind of got redirected and distracted by Eve, so he couldn't do his job. So therefore, Adam lost his job in the garden and needed replaced. So it was only actually just because of Adam's wants of, I'm gonna be lonely. I want another, and maybe I don't know. God couldn't understand. Well, God created him, so God felt like he needed to create a woman to partnership. And maybe creating this woman for Adam was a mistake, and therefore that's why there's not one Bible. There's more Bibles, because I feel like God is basically correcting his mistake, because even a creator makes a mistake. You can't be a creator if you don't make a mistake. So maybe, I used to think this all the time too, like, what if all the planets was another Earth? I made a mistake here, I made a mistake here, I made a mistake here, and then we got Earth. Let this be my final mistake. Not saying Earth is the final mistake, but just a metaphoric view of it. But yeah, so Adam was supposed to tend to this garden. So Adam could be the messenger of what the cows are doing, what the chickens are doing, what's going on in the garden of the world. So then he brings this back to God, and God says, "Good work," you know. Yeah, Adam basically is a messenger of the world, just as Christ. Christ was a messenger of the world back to God. Christ was a messenger of the world. He was a messenger, the interpreter of what was going on in life. So when I thought about this, I'm just thinking about the birds, and I'm just like, you can chirp all you want to. You can bark all you want to. You can moo all you want to. And this is how God is thinking right now. You can chirp, bark, moo, quack, meow, bark all you want to. But that's what I got my servant for. That's what I got my son here for. That's what I got Jesus for. That's what I had, that's what I got my tender of the garden for. What is it called? Then you tend to the garden. I forget what it's called. But that's what I got those specific people for, so that I don't got to hear what you're talking about. I ain't got to listen to you try to mock me. I ain't got to listen to you try to doubt what I'm saying. I ain't got to listen to all that extra. I ain't got to listen to none of that. I ain't got to listen to those questions. So I circumcise you into a bird. You go over there with your birds. This is him talking to the bird. So I circumcise you. I circumcise, basically, if you could turn a person into a bird, I'm going to circumcise you into the family of birds where your language is familiar to them. And you can have somebody to talk to, because sometimes God gets frustrated too with listening to BS. Listening to the devil's children try him. Go back to where you came from. Period, point blank. So yeah, that's what I got out of it. And I'm just like, and that's the thing about people. As humans, don't try to play God's role. You are here as a messenger. You are here to deliver the words of God. And if you are feeling some type of way, you're feeling emotional about what somebody has to say, it's not your job to judge them or put them in their place. Your job is to bring it back to God so that God can answer this person's message, kind of like Santa Claus in a way. I'm going to tell you if this gift is good or this gift is bad. I'm going to tell you if this toy is good or this toy is bad. I'm going to tell you if this person is good and this person is bad. But you don't do nothing with any of them. That's my job. Stay in your place. Period, point blank. And I think I got my point across. I think I got out what I wanted to say. Even the bird how I used the bird scenario was just like completely perfect. Like, I keep going back to it. I keep thinking about that because there's so much I want to say just by thinking of that bird and the bird chirping, So yeah. With that being said, I'm out of here and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.